The story begins with a man named Ish, who lives deep inside a forest in a small, isolated area. Ish was a biologist who had settled far away from the city to conduct his research in peace. One day, while working, he gets bitten by a poisonous snake. Shocked and panicked, his phone slips from his hand, leaving him unable to call for help. In desperation, he tries to remove the poison himself, even attempts to cut his own hand. But it doesn't work. He stumbles back home and keeps trying to stop the poison, but by then it's too late. The venom has already spread through his body, and he begins to lose consciousness. After a while, Ish starts having strange hallucinations. For several days, he lies weak and unconscious. Then one day, a group of scientists comes to the area where Ish is lying. Ish is still alive, but extremely weak. He tries his best to call out to them, but no sound comes from his throat. The scientists don't notice him and leave, assuming no one's there. A few days later, the venom in Ish's hand starts to fade. Some poison had reached his brain, but now he's beginning to recover. As soon as he regains consciousness, Ish decides to head back to the city. He cleans up his car and drives toward the city. On the way, he notices something strange: no cars on the road, no people anywhere. When he finally reaches the city, everything is silent. Empty buildings, deserted streets, not a single soul around. He's stunned. That's when he realizes that a deadly pandemic has wiped out everyone. The disease was so lethal that it wiped out the population in just a few days. Ish understands that he survived only because he was isolated in the forest, away from everyone else. Now, there was no government, no law, no order, only silence everywhere. Ish remembers his parents and rushes to their house, only to find both of them dead for days, their bodies badly decomposed. With a heavy heart, he digs graves outside the house and buries them himself. After that, he searches the whole city for survivors, but finds no one, so he decides to check other cities. He packs supplies and a gun and sets off, but when he reaches the bridge leading to Las Vegas, it's closed off. Frustrated, he takes a longer route and eventually reaches Las Vegas. But there too, death is everywhere. Malls, hotels, casinos, all abandoned. Tired and heartbroken, he enters a hotel. Now that everything is free, he decides to enjoy the luxury. For the first time, he realizes there's no one left in the world. But that night, he meets two people, a man and a woman, both survivors of the pandemic. The woman tells her story. She had watched her entire family die over a video call, and now she had no reason to live. The man says the same, that living in a world like this is pointless. That night, they stay with Ish at the hotel. But by morning, Ish starts to sense something's wrong. The man has a gun, and Ish realizes they might want to end all their lives together, a way to escape the pain. But Ish wants to live. He runs out of the hotel in fear. Moments later, he hears gunshots behind him. The couple had taken their own lives. Seeing that breaks Ish completely. He feels like he's now the last man alive in the world. While driving with a heavy heart, suddenly a dog runs in front of his car. The dog, too, seems all alone, just like Ish. He takes the dog in, and for the first time in a long while, he has a reason to live again. He starts rebuilding his life, reading survival books, gathering food, exploring the town, hoping to find someone else alive. Every day ends in disappointment, but each morning he wakes up with a little bit of hope. One day, while having tea with his dog, the dog suddenly starts barking. Ish looks around and sees smoke rising from a distant house. Someone must be there. He grabs his car keys and drives straight to the house. Inside, he finds a woman who's terrified to see him. Ish calmly tells her that he means no harm, that he's alone too, just looking for another survivor. The woman's name is Emma. Emma lets him in. As they talk, Ish learns that it's been a year since the pandemic began. In that entire time, neither of them had seen another human being. Both feel comforted knowing they're no longer alone. The loneliness had been eating them alive. They decide to live together at Ish's place. It's safer, with a general store nearby full of food and supplies. Together, they clean and repair the house, giving their lives a fresh start. Emma takes good care of Ish. They begin spending more time together and even discuss that if they're the only people left in the world, maybe they should think about rebuilding humanity. Some time later, Emma becomes pregnant. Ish panics. How could a baby survive in such a world? But Emma reassures him that everything will be fine. Being a biologist, Ish starts studying books about childbirth and parenting. They make their home more secure, installing solar panels for electricity and fencing the area since wild animals have started taking over the city. They also keep a few tamed animals to help them with chores. Their days slowly fill with purpose again. After some time, life finds a new rhythm. The air feels cleaner, nature has taken over, and both Ish and Emma are healthier. Everything seems peaceful again, until another problem arises. Out of nowhere, rats start infesting the city. Seeing them, Ish gets scared. To drive them away, he burns smoke inside the air vents. It works for one night, but the next day, the rats are back. Emma says, "We'll have to find another solution for this too." As morning came, Ish stepped outside and released several cats around the house to get rid of the rats. Gradually, the cats hunted them all down, and the problem was finally solved. Then came the day when Emma was due to give birth. Ish handled everything by himself, and after some time, a beautiful baby girl was born. Both of them were overjoyed. It felt like life had given them new hope. Afterward, they went out into the streets and wrote their home address on walls and signboards, hoping that if any other survivors ever came by, they'd find food and water there. 6 years later, Ish was driving through the forest for some work when suddenly an animal ran in front of his car. He panicked, stepped out, and saw that the animal was still alive but in terrible pain. To save it from further suffering, Ish put it out of its misery with a single shot. From a distance, a young girl witnessed everything. The gunshot scared her, and she ran deep into the woods. Ish saw her running and immediately chased after her. The girl thought Ish was going to hurt her, but he wasn't. All he wanted was to help. When he offered her an apple, she realized that Ish wasn't a bad person after all. Ish invited the girl to come with him, but she refused to sit next to him in the car and instead chose to ride in the back. When they reached home, she still wouldn't come out of the trunk. Inside, it was shown that over the years, Ish and Emma now had 2 kids, and Emma was pregnant with their third. They had written their address all over the city, and because of that, 2 more survivors, George and Marina, had found them a year earlier. They'd been living together ever since, because this place had everything they needed. Now Ish had brought home the girl from the forest, but she still refused to leave the car. She spent the whole night inside the truck. In the morning, Marina took her some food, but the girl panicked and threw it away. Marina calmly told her their story, how she and George had been wandering the world alone for months until they found Ish and Emma's address. She said Ish and Emma were good people and that this place was safe, with plenty of food and water. Hearing this, the girl finally began to relax and slowly started interacting with everyone. But something was still off. The girl barely spoke and hadn't even shared her name. One day, Marina looked through her belongings and found some strange drawings, along with a letter. The letter revealed that during the pandemic, her father had treated her terribly, leaving her deeply traumatized and afraid of people. It was written by her mother, saying that if anyone ever found this girl after she was gone, they should take care of her. After learning this, everyone began to care for the girl, Evie, even more tenderly. That same night, Emma gave birth to their third child. The entire house was filled with happiness. A year passed peacefully. Then one day, they received news that someone had entered their area. Everyone panicked. The kids were sent inside while the adults grabbed their guns and went out to check. Outside, they saw a group of survivors who had also found Ish and Emma's address. Among them was a doctor named Molly. She said that in all these years, she'd only found these 3 people alive, and this was her first time meeting another group. By the look on their faces, and the way they talked, Ish and Emma could tell they meant no harm. So they welcomed them into their community. After all, they had everything here: food, water, and shelter. Together, they could start building a small society. Ish laid down some basic rules for the newcomers. Always carry your weapons, because the world had turned into a wilderness, and never go out alone for supplies. Always travel in groups, otherwise an animal or some danger might catch you off guard. After explaining the rules, everyone set out for supplies. Dr. Molly brought back plenty of useful items from the mall and hospital: medicines, tools, and other essentials. Years went by, and their community grew. Now there were several families and many children. Each couple had kids of their own. Ish taught the children, telling them stories about how the old world used to be and how humans once lived. He also trained them in survival skills so they'd be ready for whatever came their way. By now, the area around their home had turned into a full-grown forest. One day, a lion wandered into their yard. Thankfully, Ish noticed it in time. He rushed to save the kids, but the lion attacked him. Everyone panicked. By the time the others arrived, Ish was already badly injured, and the lion had run off into the woods. Seeing his condition, Emma grabbed a gun in anger, went into the forest, and killed the lion herself. Molly and the others treated Ish, and thankfully, they managed to save his life. A few weeks later, Ish recovered completely. 17 years passed. All the kids had grown up. Ish's eldest daughter had become close to one of the boys in the group. Their friendship turned into something deeper, and no one objected. After all, it was up to them now to carry humanity forward. The two of them wanted to explore the world, to see if there were any other survivors out there. Everyone supported their decision, gave them guns and supplies, and sent them off on their journey. But after they left, a new problem arose: a water shortage. They had everything else, but the water level in the dam was dropping fast. When they went to check, the dam was almost dry. It was a serious issue. A few days later, another group of survivors arrived in their area. They had 2 trucks, but were running low on fuel. They approached Ish and asked for gasoline, saying, "In exchange, we can help solve your water problem. We have a drill machine. We can dig underground and still." Ish didn't find their offer bad at all. They had said they could dig the ground and bring out water. Ish allowed them to stay in his community, but warned everyone not to trust them too much. For a few days, those men drilled near Ish's house. After a lot of hard work, they finally struck water. Everyone was overjoyed because it meant a new hope for survival. That night, the whole community gathered and celebrated. But the next morning, when they were about to leave, Ish noticed that their leader, Charlie, was sneaking out of a room late at night. Suspicious, Ish quietly followed him. When Ish reached there, he realized Charlie had assaulted Evia. The sight filled Ish with rage. He immediately called the whole community together and told them what had happened. Everyone was shocked. It was a horrifying thing to hear. Evia said in front of everyone that Charlie told her he wasn't going anywhere, because here they had everything: food, water, and most importantly, guns. Hearing that, the whole group panicked. Ish knew that if he didn't do something now, Charlie would become a threat to everyone. He thought, if I let him live, this entire community could be destroyed. Some people argued that there were already so few humans left in the world. Killing Charlie would only reduce their numbers even more. But Ish said, if we don't kill Charlie, he'll end up killing all of us. After that, they came up with a plan together. That night, they surrounded Charlie while he was asleep. Before he could even react, Ish struck him with a hammer, killing him instantly. They buried his body quietly in the ground. Ish felt heavy inside. It was the first time he had ever killed another human being. But deep down, he knew he did it to protect his people. The next morning, Ish gathered Charlie's group and told them what had happened, that Charlie had been killed because he hurt a girl from their community. Surprisingly, most of them weren't sad. Some even said that Charlie had mistreated women in their own group too. So, his death actually brought them some peace. Only one of Charlie's close friends was furious. He started yelling and accusing everyone. Ish told everyone that they didn't want enemies, that everyone could live here peacefully, except for Charlie's friend, because he carried the same danger inside him. Everyone agreed and voted to exile the man from the community. At first, that man ran away, but later, he realized he couldn't survive alone out there. He came back, begging to return, but Ish refused. Community safety came first. Around this time, the children in the community were studying old research and trying to build an airplane. They truly believed that soon they'd get it to work. But just then, a bigger problem hit them. Several people started falling sick again with the same deadly virus that had wiped out the world 20 years earlier. Molly still had some medicine and began treating everyone, but Ish's younger son grew gravely ill. His condition worsened day by day. The whole community was heartbroken. Meanwhile, Ish's eldest daughter returned home alone, crying. When everyone asked where her partner was, she said that the two of them had traveled across many cities, visited countless places, searching for other survivors, but never found anyone. Everywhere they went, they left notes with their address, hoping someone might someday find them. Then they reached a forest area where they met a man. That man killed her partner and said, "This is revenge for Charlie." Hearing that, everyone realized it was the same man Ish had exiled earlier. The daughter said she had to kill that man in self-defense before coming back. Everyone felt sorry for her, but the tragedy didn't stop there. A few days later, Ish's other son also died. Then 3 more people in the community succumbed to the virus. After witnessing so much death, Ish completely broke down. He lost the will to live. He felt like everything was over, but Emma stood by him. She said, "Remember when it was just the 2 of us, and there was no one else left in the world? We still started everything from scratch. Now that we've built so much, how can you give up? These kids look up to you as their teacher." Her words gave Ish a bit of strength. He went up to the mountains to watch the sunrise. As he looked at the horizon, he realized the world had completely changed. The colors that once seemed faded now looked bright and full of life. He understood that this was no longer the old world, it was a new one. And he realized he'd been teaching his children how to live like people from the past, not how to survive in the new world they were actually in. When Ish returned home, he called everyone together and said, "We've been walking down the wrong path. We've been trying to live like people of the old world, but that world doesn't exist anymore. This is a new world, and we have to live by its rules." He continued, "From now on, you'll learn what your teachers show you, everything that's necessary to survive in this world." Since their old communication systems had stopped working, they built a new radio network to stay connected and share information. Ish began organizing small daily activities and events where everyone could learn how to live together and survive as one. Soon, they started rebuilding not just their community, but the entire area. They repaired old hotels and buildings, and gradually began restoring nearby cities too. In the final scene, we see Ish sitting with his grandson, telling him the entire story of his life. He says, "Son, this world now belongs to your generation. It's your job to keep it moving forward. And with those words, the story ends.